Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's study Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, text 1. Text 1. First verse of chapter 7. It's the first verse of the middle section of Bhagavad Gita. Based on what I've seen, this is the verse that Prabhupada lectured on the most in Bhagavad Gita of any book. There's just dozens and dozens all over the world. Prabhupada would again and again speak on this verse. Okay, so we can start with the Sanskrit words in unison. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mai Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yujanmarashraya Samshayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Tachrinu Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yujanmarashraya Samshayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Tachrinu Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanmarashraya Samshayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Tachrinu. If anyone else would like to lead the recitation. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Marashraya Samshayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Tachrinu.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Marashraya Samshayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Tachrinu. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Manashraya Samshayam Samagramam Yatagyasya Tachrinu. Okay. Would you like to lead the chanting?
That's okay. I lost my voice, so it's just coming back. So.
Lots of kirtan in recent days.
Yeah.
I'm running into lots of Vaishnavas who've lost their voices in recent days. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
The Supreme Lord said, Mai unto me, Saktamana, mind attached. Partha, O son of Prita, Yogam, self-realization. Yunjan, so practicing. Mat Ashraya, in consciousness of me. Krishna consciousness. Asamshayam, without doubt. Samagram, completely, mam, unto me, yata, as much as, yasyasi, you can know, tat, that, shrinu, try to hear. Translation. Now hear, O son of Prita Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Now, in a few moments, we'll read the purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. But before that, I just want to read the last verse of chapter 6, because the first verse of chapter 7 is following on that. So chapter 6, it like describes about like the physical yoga, the hatha yoga, the sort of yoga that people are familiar with. And it's a whole section on that, end of chapter 5 and chapter 6. And then at the very conclusion of chapter 6, Krishna is emphasizing, Krishna says, of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So Krishna is saying very clearly, the goal of that physical yoga and the asanas and all that is bhakti, to be fully absorbed, bhajate, loving devotional service, bhakti yoga. That's the goal. The idea is to create a quiet environment within through the physical exercises, to meditate, to make the distinction of who we are as not the body, a spirit, soul, and connect with Krishna in the heart and loving devotional service to Krishna in the heart. So now, at the beginning of chapter 7, so Krishna is saying, now here, how to practice that yoga, that bhakti yoga, how that yoga means, like the English word yoke, connection. So in essence, yoga means the self, connecting with itself and self-realization, turning towards itself in self-discovery, and turning towards Krishna in a spirit of devotion. That's the essence of yoga. That's the essence of yoga. Now, okay, so Krishna said, okay, that's the goal at the end of the 6th chapter. And now he's saying, okay, now here's how to do it. Here's some guidelines. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, that's here. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described here in Krishna. Krishna on the Yamuna River playing his flute. Jai Shri Krishna. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, which is capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmagoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmagoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tatshrinu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity for progress in Krishna consciousness. One is therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the second chapter of the first canto as follows. So now, in the end of this purport, Prabhupada is going to quote a series of 5 verses. Hare Krishna Bhakti Vallari, Hari Bol. A series of 5 verses that are spoken by Sutta Goswami in the second chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam. These verses, Prabhupada references them a lot as individual verses and as a series. Like if anyone wants to I'd like to learn some verses from Bhagavatam, this would be a great place to start. Okay? Because it really describes the essence of the entirety of the process of Bhakti Yoga. And so, and as does this first verse of the 7th chapter. So that's my understanding of why Prabhupada's giving these 5 verses. So these are just very key. All 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam are completely transcendental, just like all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. And some verses are especially important for us. So Prabhupada's giving these very key. I'm kind of like holding up a flag, like notice these verses. Okay. Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Vidyanta Stoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Sarit Satam Nasta Praise Rabhadreshu Nicham Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtikin Tadara Justamo Bhavo Kamalabadayaste Cheta Eter Navidam Stita Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogata Bhagavat Tattva Vigyanam Bhukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Vidya Grintish Chijante Sarvasamshaya Kshiyante Chasya Karbani Drishta Evat Manishvare. So here's how and the translation he gives is a little different than the translation he gives in the Bhagavatam itself. The same essence, but slightly different. To hear about so again, this is like the whole process of from faith to bhava, to love of Krishna. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear about him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asamshayam samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. That's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Okay. Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayamupakadamayam Darati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamstra Shri Upam Sagrajatam Saganaragnatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Vadan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamstra Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavani Shre Vishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatu Yubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 7, Text 1, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partam Yogam Yunjan Manashya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatagasyasi Tachuni. Now hear, O son of Prita Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So again, this is followed on the end of the 6th chapter, and the goal of all yoga is Krishna consciousness. It's not David Wolf's opinion. This is Bhagavad Gita, the source book of all yoga. Okay, and so Krishna starts with this. He says, "Tatrinu, now here." Okay, so, and that's why Srila Prabhupada, he's quoting this series of verses in Bhagavatam. He's quoting a series of verses in Bhagavatam, starting with hearing. So we can say, actually, before the series of verses, there's even a preliminary verse. Shushu Shosha Dhanesha Vasudeva Katavuchi Senmahatsevayavi Punya Tirtha Nishevana. Before hearing that verse, Sutta Goswami is emphasizing about associating. For one, one who associates with sincere devotees, then by such association, this itself is great service. And then naturally we develop an attraction. To hearing. They're welcome. They want to go to my office or one of the bedrooms. They're welcome to feel free around the home. Yes. We're quite liberal and accommodating here. And yeah. Also, there's prasad, if that's helpful. We got pieces of fruit and things. Okay, so okay, even preliminary is what's emphasized in Bhagavad Gita, and here is that this principle of sangha or association. That's also a key verse in Bhagavad Machita Makita Pranam Bodhiantas Praspram Katantas Chamam Bhadya to Sanchita Ramanticha. Okay. So and we all have experience, whether it's associating in person or associating in a book, or so like I could associate on the internet with like what's on the news or who won the game or what's happening in the stock market. I could associate there for a few hours, and then it's a guarantee. My taste for opening Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita will be I just lose the taste. I could force myself. I could try to come up out of the pit, and sometimes it might be our service to keep in touch with what's happening in the news. It's not like that's because the news, that's also Krishna's energy. So it's an important point. Yes, that my tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta mortene mastani sarvabhuti nachamteshu. Everything's Krishna's energy. So that's not the question. How realized are we? How expert are we to associate with any of Krishna's energies in such a way that will enhance our self-realization and deepen our inspiration to practice bhakti and to inspire others to practice bhakti? So certain energies, they're kind of designed to alienate ourselves from ourselves, and certain energies, like Bhagavad Gita vibration, that it's designed to move us, inspire us for the self to turn towards itself in self-realization, and the self to cultivate a devotional attitude towards God. So different association with different vibration, different people. So we know, so just like, okay, we have lots of programs here. You went to Festival of the Holy Name, right? So I know, like, everyone's like more enthusiastic to chant now compared to, let's say, if we had what's on TV sitcom. I don't even know if there are sitcoms anymore. I don't keep track. But yeah, we had a marathon. Let's do TV 8 hours per day, or let's just sleep until noon, and no, we're rising early, doing hearing and chanting, and so it's like it's contagious in a positive way. It's contagious in a positive way. So that association. Now, sure, like, okay, we could say like Srila Prabhupada. So he was in Vrindavan, where like everyone's like Jai Radhe, like it's just it's all devotional association. At that time in 1965, it was a small town with 5,000 Krishna temples, Radha Krishna temples. So wonderful association, and he left it. He went to Butler, Pennsylvania. He went to New York City, where there's no association. But Prabhupada didn't see that. He didn't see it that way. He didn't see, in the metropolitan area of New York, there's no devotees. He saw, metropolitan area of New York, there's 13 million devotees. Yeah, they're not realizing it, but that's why I'm here, like that. So of course, Srila Prabhupada's never. So we want to aspire for that example without imitating it. So it's like we get to be responsible to arrange our association such that each day we're more and more enthusiastic for spiritual life. And like if we went to where there's no chanting, would we be the spark to kindle? Right? Because Srila Prabhupada got on the Jaladuta, went to where there's no association, so-called. And because he did that, here we are in North Florida. Actually, Prabhupada referred to this county as this remote corner of the world, Gainesville, Florida. Can you imagine? He referred to Gators. The home of the Gators. What corner? What was he thinking? What was he thinking? Right. So, but that's so he had that potency, because he's never without association. He's with Krishna. So we need to like that. That's like self-honesty, to know ourselves, not to stay away from association that's going to inspire. At the same time, it's true. We want to not imitate, but we want to cultivate a consciousness. And this, I want to be careful what I'm saying here, but we want to cultivate a consciousness where we're not needing association. Okay, like, yeah, of course we want like programs like this and Festival of the Holy Name, of course, and we want to cultivate a consciousness where, like, whatever happens, if we're alone on the desert island, or who knows what world events would do, and for a day or two or a year or two, that we don't have this sort of in-person physical association, where we continue with ever increasing inspiration, and that requires spiritual strength. So again, we don't want to imitate Prabhupada, but we do want to go towards that. And then not needing association doesn't mean that we reject association. It means, of course, we're so excited for association of wonderful bhaktas of Krishna. So then from association, then naturally we want to hear and chant more. Srinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam. That's we want to hear and chant more. And then Nasta praise for Bhadrishu. Then, as we hear and chant more, then we become purified. What's that mean? It means like the lust in our heart, the envy, the jealousy, the greed, the material anger. I say material anger because there is spiritual anger. There is like healthy. The material anger, the self-deception, that all becomes cleansed. So this isn't just some abstract psychology or philosophy, because here's the thing. Anandamaya Vyasana, we're all seeking to be happy and fulfilled and blissful and peaceful and all those wonderful qualities. And to the extent that we hold on to the envy, the jealousy, etc., any impurity, it's just the definition of self-sabotage. We're going to be miserable. We just like, it's just like, if we drop something, it's going to fall because of the law of gravity. Any impurity, any desire other than serving God with purity, without wanting reciprocation. Of course, the irony is those pure devotees who serve God without wanting reciprocation, they have the greatest bliss. That's the paradox. Okay. But yeah, so any other desire, bhukti mukti siddhi kami, sakaliya shanta, Krishna bhakti nishkama, ata eva shanta. That is even a desire for mystic perfections or desire for adoration or distinction or to be special or like that. Yeah. Any desire, we're ruining our possibility for actual true happiness. And what sometimes Prabhupada said, so we shift the quality of our desire to Krishna, then we're happy. And sometimes Prabhupada said, that's not really a desire. That's just like, it's like the natural expression of the self to want to serve Krishna. It's not a desire in the material sense. And so then the driving engine of this purification process is hearing and chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, especially Nrsimhadev mantras, Damodarastakam, Jai Radha Madhava, every text in Bhagavad Gita, every word in Prabhupada's purport. So hearing and chanting, and say like, I don't want to hear and chant. You're going to hear and chant. We don't have a choice. We're going to hear and chant. It's just our choices. Where are we going to direct that propensity for hearing and chanting? I don't want to serve anyone. Bob Dylan said, you got to serve somebody. He said, you're going to serve Maya. He said, Mammon. You're going to serve God. So we're going to serve. We're going to worship people. There's going to be a rock and roll star. There's going to be a political figure. There's going to be Krishna. Prabhupada has many lectures. He references his talks with Professor Katofsky in Moscow. And that was like 1971. And Prabhupada said he made the point with Professor Katofsky, because Katofsky said, oh no, we don't accept this. But Prabhupada said, no, what's that? At that time, not anymore. They had the big statue of Lenin. He says, okay, look, you're going to accept a leader. So we accept our leader as Krishna. You're accepting your leader as Lenin. Okay, so what's the difference in principle? Katofsky had nothing to retort. So we're going, because these are just nature. We're going to worship. We're going to serve. Our choice is to do it in ignorance, tamas, rajas, sattva, shuddha sattva, purity. That's our choice. And to the extent that we direct these propensities for hearing, chanting, glorifying in a tamasic way, rajasic way, we're going to be miserable. It's just like gravity. It's just like a law. It's not even about good, bad, moralizing, right, wrong. It's just that's why when we first in the 1990s, when we developed the Vedic personality inventory, a personality inventory based on the psychology of the gunas from the ancient Vedas, our professors asked, well, why do you want to do this? My response was to establish an empirical basis for happiness. Happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment, inner peace, all those contract qualities everyone's seeking. Because the Vedas assert, and we just said, so we'll test the assertions through rigorous social science methods. The Vedas assert, to the extent that one develops sattvic worldviews and habits and actions, that will correspond positively with happiness, joy, peace, satisfaction, fulfillment, freedom, security. It's not even about good, bad, right, wrong. It's like these are universal laws. So Tadara just so then we become purified of greed. Like if we're greedy, money, more. Then we have no chance of happiness. None. If we're lusty, if we're envious, no chance of happiness. All right, and then Prabhupada uses this term so much, a science of self-realization. And then the result, when our heart's purified, then we experience Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogita Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Then we experience ourself as spirit soul. It's Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Shushukam Kartumadhyam.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry for those.
Bhakti, can you prepare a container of prasad to give? There's prasad on the stove, and also there's some fruit in the refrigerator. So, I'll feel complete with our visit.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry we can't reciprocate.
I'm so glad you visited. So glad you visited.
Very nice to see you. Looking great. Home was so good and clean and just really nice temple here.
Hare Krishna. We're endeavoring to use it in Prabhupada's service. Endeavoring to realize it's not my home.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt the class.
I appreciate your visit very much. And so you're in Laguna Beach? So,
yeah, we're a little north in Long Beach.
Long Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you run the restaurant or something?
She was managing it for many years. But since we had the baby, other people have taken over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the baby can shift some things.
Yeah. I saw you just had Saturday in LA.
Yeah.
It went well.
Very well. Yeah. We had a foundational seminar end of September, early October. And that was the second one this year. We also had a foundational seminar in March this year in Los Angeles, organized by Shraddhanjali. Shraddha, I don't know if you know Shraddha. Yeah. Daughter of Hobby, wife of Prema.
I don't think so.
I've seen her. She comes to the programs in Laguna. We have big programs.
Is that mom and his daughter?
No, that's Chitra.
Oh, okay.
Chitra. I heard Shraddha, she led Kirtan, I think it was yesterday morning at noon. She's very nice Kirtan leader.
Our friend did the program. Friend Kumi did it.
Kumi, that's right.
Yeah.
Kumi's she's a yoga teacher. She runs a yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a yoga studio.
That's
She
right.
brought me to the temple for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful.
She said she loved it.
She loved it.
Very good. That's encouraging for me to hear.
Yeah, she really liked it.
Very encouraging for me to hear. Nice. Okay, nice to meet you, Leela.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
She
you
wants
for the
to.
prasad, the talk. We don't want to disturb too much more.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. I appreciate your association. And remind me your daughter's name?
Ranga Devi.
Ranga Devi.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
You too.
Very much.
This evening, Abhi will be visiting me. I'll share with him about your visit.
Oh, perfect.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, yes. Oh, you want to first? Okay, no, we don't.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. So then we get through the cleansing of the heart, then the chanting more and more. Then, like, you've all heard me, most of you heard me share the story about, like, I get to chant my rounds. I don't have to chant my rounds. I don't have to chant my rounds. I get to chant my rounds. And then it becomes more and more like that. It becomes less and less of like I have to, just like, well, yeah, I have this commitment to chant rounds, and it becomes more and more. Right? There's a conversation with Prabhupada, and the devotees were a little bit like, oh, 16 rounds. They were a little bit like, why 16? And Prabhupada was like, 16 rounds. Why not 16,000 rounds? He said, why not 16,000 rounds per day? So Prabhupada, his point was just like the lady who coming down the stairwell at the New York temple said, I don't have to chant my rounds. Prabhupada was like, the only reason that there's any commitment to chant any number of rounds is because so Rukmini is attentive that they'll be doing hearing Shravana. I appreciate that. Prabhupada said, what's that mean? 16. Prabhupada saying, why not 16,000 rounds? So he makes the point. The only reason why you have any commitment is because you don't have a taste. You don't have a taste. And but if we have a taste, then we're then we're like desperate. I wish I could chant 16,000 rounds per day. I wish that I don't want this to stop. It's not. Prabhupada would sometimes imitate like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Finish my 16 rounds. Okay, now I can. Prabhupada would say, now I can do any damn thing I want. He would imitate some of the followers. But the point is, this Nichisiddha Krishna Prema Sajjakabu Noi Shravanadi Shuddhachite Karyayuda. This love of Krishna is naturally in the heart of every soul, including the ant and the tree and the squirrel and everyone. Every human, even the humans we like the least and dislike the most. Love of Krishna is in their heart. Right? So again, it's the diamond approach, right? Where it's process of cleansing the diamond. There's different covering. Some covers can be thicker, some not so thick. And this natural love of Krishna, it's awakened from this process of hearing and chanting. And then that taste develops. Prabhupada gives the example of the disease jaundiced. Apparently, actually, both Sita and Abhi had jaundice when they were born. Not serious, but like things like an extra day or two and under medical care, and it's pretty common. And so apparently with jaundice, you eat a sweet and it tastes bitter. But the cure for the disease of jaundice is keep eating sweets. And then they taste sweeter and sweeter as you get cured. So that's the example. The whole thing of bhakti, including the chanting, it can feel a little bitter because the whole my commitment, material life, is like the David Wolf God project. Like I want to be this. I want to be the center of that rasa dance. I want all the like that, and that's it. So this whole bhakti thing, this whole bhakti yoga thing, it's a complete revolution. Just like Krishna is the center, right? Serving a pure devotee, serving the spiritual master. I would never want to serve me. No, this body and this whole illusion, my whole project here. So that's why this Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Gita, it can feel bitter, because I have jaundice. But then the natural sweetness is more and more revealed and tasted. The more we engage in it, and then we have a direct experience of the soul, joyful in self-realization and joyful in service to Krishna. We have a positive scientific realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the stage of complete liberation from all material association. Bijate vidyagrantish chidante sarasamshakshiyante trustya karmani drishta evatmaneshwara. Then the knot in the heart it's not, some of these gunas, we talk about the Vedic personality inventory, the gunas. Guna means rope or string. And just like we can sort of to the extent that we're identifying with the gunas, even sattva-guna, but sattva-guna things unravel more. Rajas and tamas, the knot gets tighter and tighter. It's like this knot in the heart. Right? The heart wants to be free, like that. And so association with tamas and rajas, we're tightening the knot. Association with sattva and Shuddha means bhakti, essentially. It's like even more pure than sattva. That's all science, right? And then the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are slashed to pieces, because then it's not like a mental thing. Do I believe that? And we gave that example in yesterday's class, just like Prabhupada's example. If someone's full, it's just like, Am I full? What's your opinion? What's your philosophy about? Well, no, my tummy's full. I just had a big meal. I know I have direct realization. I'm not like on the mental platform about it. Not so sure. Like we know. So suddenly the soul is full in this, and then the taste becomes sweeter and sweeter as we just give up the greed, the lust, the material anger. And so this one verse, this is the verse in all the books that Prabhupada lectured on the most, based on my count. And this series of 5 verses in the purport. This is like the quintessential essence of the whole process of bhakti. So Prabhupada quotes it here, starting from hearing, even more preliminary, starting from devotional association. All right, so the verse is chapter 7, text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanmanashraya Asamshayam Samagramam Yati Yasyasi Tachrim. Now hear, O Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. I got it right. Okay. Is there any discussion, questions, comments, realizations? Rukmi.
There is one verse just related to the point you brought about being satisfied.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Bhakti Parashanam Bhava.
Yes, yeah. I don't have it memorized, but yeah,
Yeah.
Prabhupada quotes it.
So yeah, it just came.
Yeah.
To say.
That's it. The quick, yeah. To be the soul's fully satisfied. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know parts of it.
Parts of it, yeah.
It's nice, yeah. Like,
And it fits right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With every mouthful, you know.
Yeah. Yes. With every bite, more. Yes. More and more satisfied. Yeah. And with I have a drop of experience that with in this lifetime, well, practicing for more than 40 years, meaning longer than me. So certainly I wish my surrender was more full and complete, but to whatever little extent I've given myself to the process, I have enough experience to say it's true. Like it gets more and more blissful. That's true. And the taste is such that I wouldn't want to go for any other taste in this lifetime. And then when I do, I kind of that was really a waste of time. That wasn't a good use of my life energies. Any other comments or questions? What's that? A joke?
Related to what you said earlier about the corner of the world.
The remote corner of the world.
It's like everybody likes to come to the corner,
Right, yeah.
Transforms the whole thing.
Hang out at the corner.
Hanging.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Bhakti and Kelly.
I was appreciating connecting all the yogas and using the yogas, or specifically to bring one to Bhakti yoga.
Yeah.
To bring one to Bhakti yoga. And I'm remembering many sessions of yoga, asana yoga. Afterwards, I would feel like I had a massage, like almost blissfully, almost drunk, just so relaxed and so undisturbed by anything, just really present and blissful. And I never knew what to do with that. I just enjoyed it and went on with my day or whatever happened. And I'm excited to have that experience again and know that I can go straight into Bhakti yoga with that and let it hold the space for me even more sweetly when I'm endeavoring to focus in on chanting. If I take advantage of those blissful moments, I'm curious to see how my chanting will feel.
Thanks for that. Yeah, that's the point. The yogas, it's because much of them it's presented yeah, then you can enjoy life more. And even I mean, our Maha Mantra studies were like to chant mantra, you relieve stress, relieve depression. That's just a trick, because relief of stress is more peace. That's a byproduct. That's a byproduct. So we're just trying to attract people to chant Hare Krishna. But so there's another quintessential verse in Bhagavad Gita, last verse of chapter 5. Bhoktaram yav gitapisam sarvalok maheshram sarvidam sarvabhutanam gatpamam shantimicchati. Bhokta means enjoyment. So Krishna is saying that God, he's the supreme enjoyer. But that's it. So like we can get some benefit. We can even get some benefit from chanting, right? But then now I can enjoy life more. Wow. Okay. Then boom. Then we'll go into some slide. We'll go into some crash. The idea is, okay, let me take this freedom from the lower modes that could come from that asanas or whatever. Yeah, there's some freedom. There's some peace. Let me take that. Let me take that to serve Krishna's enjoyment. Then the soul's awakened to its eternal bliss. Let me cultivate that realization that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and our nature is to enjoy like anything. This Krishna consciousness, real spiritual life. It's not about like, okay, now we need to be miserable because we're spiritual, no more enjoyment. No, this Krishna Bhakti Yoga, this is where the party never ends. This is where the party never ends, ever increasing bliss. I can say, because we can say, well, I know this one's enjoy, doesn't enjoy, and there's so much struggle and this and that. Are you saying, Dhira Govinda Das, you haven't struggled? I struggle like anything. Like I could write volumes and volumes about my struggle. Not that it would be interesting reading, but I could write it. But I can 100% say that I've never struggled with Krishna consciousness, and that the process is completely blissful. My struggle is when I'm not aligned with the process, when I'm choosing something other than the process, and then the shame and the alienation and like that. Whenever I'm like, right now, I'm in the process and just like, this is joyful with all of you. Like that. We could take snapshots, cross sections of other parts of my day. And you're struggling. Yes, it's because I'm doing something else with my hearing, doing something else with my eyes. Okay. And then it's like, then I regret. And then I'm back into the envy and scarcity and all of that. So like I said, the process is completely blissful. And whether I'm in the process or not, I always get confirmation of that. I always get confirmation of that. Because when I'm not in the process and I'm doing some rajasic, tamasic stuff, Bhagavad Gita says, hey, here's what you'll experience. It's like, yep. When I'm relatively in the process. Prabhupada gives the example, like, okay, like the soul's pure devotion for Krishna, just like here we had Rangavati, was that the baby's name? Rangadevi, yeah. And so he had a baby and parents, Prabhupada was make the mother analogy. Said that's like, okay, the mother is meant to enjoy, but the mother, let's say if the mother sees that the child is nicely fed with a nice meal, the mother gets more enjoyment from that than when she's eating her own meal. Right? Okay. So it's similar. It's not that we're not meant to enjoy, but we're secondary enjoyers. That when Krishna is nicely fed, not that Krishna needs our food. And yes, so when we're serving the deities on the altar, we have very, very simple altar here. But when we're serving, when we're chanting, when we're pleasing Krishna, then perhaps paradoxically, then we, the spirit souls, then we're so blissful a trillion times more than the happiness that comes when we're forgetting Krishna and just like, I just want to enjoy. Because that's based on a false conception of self. That's based on the shadow conception of self. Right? That's based like if we're trying to feed the shadow or please the car, but we forget about the driver of the car. The driver of the car is pleased when we're serving or serving God. Thanks for your comment. Anything else? Anastasia.
Yeah, so you mentioned the Bailey Personality Index test that you came up with, and so I recently retook that.
It's part of PBTC.
It is.
Yeah.
I recently took that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of surprised because I thought it was going to be different.
Yeah.
And it was kind of steady.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like studying my practice or studying my or like, and I could maybe raise it half a point, but I found it interesting that there really wasn't much
not much
movement.
change, yeah.
Yeah. So,
compared to a few years ago.
Exactly. And then it dawned on me like, well, this is real. This is like really practical because I can't be 100% soft. I mean, I just can't be. There's just no way. But it felt like there was a balance. Like, okay, so maybe it's like more half Sophic and the other two like a quarter each. Just kind of, it wasn't the exact numbers, but it was kind of like, so yeah, my mind is not going to be engaged in Krishna consciousness 100% of the time. It's just not. So it was kind of depressing because I was thinking.
You didn't see movement in the Sophic direction.
So I was, but I feel like that I recognize it sooner. Like if I go to Rajasic or I feel like I recognize it sooner, and then I can choose, if I wanted to shift out of that state of mind. And the easiest for me is just to start saying the Maha Mantra. So I mean that's at work, that's at home, that's anywhere. So it feels like success since the last time I took the test. It's just to have that recognition. But it was interesting to me because I was a little deflated when I first saw the number.
you were expecting some higher Sophic scores.
I was expecting a higher Sophic score, yeah. So but yeah, I was just curious. Like, is it kind of like I just took the recent Clifton Strengths Finder, and so there was like those qualities don't change. Like my top 5 qualities will always be my top 5 qualities. And so I was like, does that change? But I guess I'm just in that mind of looking at like, accepting, and then knowing that just because I'm in this material body right now, I'm kind of restricted for what that looks like. And so I was just kind of curious if you see much change with other folks or not. I mean, once you get into Krishna consciousness practice, because I think there was a big difference like 9 years ago when I took
compared to 9 years ago.
Yeah, certainly there was a big change from 9 years ago. Maybe from 3 years ago, not so much. So that's why I was like, okay, so I'm in my vows to Prabhupada, and I'm more serious about, and I'm also doing more service for Prabhupada. So it feels enlightening in that way too. And I didn't even know about Prabhupada 9 years ago, so I don't even know who this guy is. So yeah, it feels amazing. So yeah, I'm just sharing because I was surprised.
I appreciate your sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, one thing is like these tools, whether it's the VPI, or Clifton Strengths or Myers-Briggs, they're very imperfect.
Okay.
I'm not trying to invalidate whatever process you're going through, but it's very imperfect process, and I know that we discuss that any quality scientific study will discuss its limitations. I mean, it's subject to the human defects, and even just the whole self-rating, because I've had experience with VPI too, that like, I didn't improve, but I feel, I can feel myself. I can feel the process working with this. Well, it's just a part of it could be, so for example, the test doesn't have a way to evaluate more rigorous standards for self-rating. Okay, so let's say, okay, I don't know, maybe let's say if when I was 20 years old, before I read Bhagavad Gita or started chanting Hare Krishna, maybe a question like, are you intensely attached to the results of your actions? And I go, nah, not really. Yeah, I'll give that. Yeah, I give that a 1, man. Because I was like a saint at that time. Now, I mean, are you intensely attached? And now I'm looking at like, yeah, I got so much going on in my heart. I'm attached, and I try to show I'm not attached, but it's because I want to look good, and I got all these masks going on and attachment to external things. And so I might go, yeah, like 5. Okay. So you can say, okay, that means I became less sattvic in the past 43 years. That's so depressing. But it's sort of just like, you know, like I'm more rigorous with myself. Whereas like I was, in one sense, I was more dull then. I was, no, but actually I had so much misery and depression because I wasn't getting the happiness externally that I wanted, but like less aware. So I'm just saying that there's many, these whole self-rating things, it's a very crude instrument. Still, I'm going to defend the VPI. By social science research standards, it's very rigorous at a high level. So I'm commenting on the VPI but the whole industry, which I chose to participate in to serve Prabhupada's mission. But it's subject to a lot of defect. I don't know if that means anything, but there you go.
It helps.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Anything else? Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namu Namaste
Mine didn't change much either.
Okay.
A little bit.
Rukmini, would you like to lead a kirtan? Okay, thank you. We'll do kirtan, then prasad.
Man, that downward spiral.
Yeah.
Mantras.
Oh, sure.
Right, yeah. Kelly's been coming around for like 8 years, maybe. And like there were like she's met Sita. There's been like 5 or 6 times where like Kelly would be here, and then she would like leave after a few hours, and like 2 minutes later I'll be able to run. It's the first time you're meeting.
Yes.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, I've been waiting, wondering. When will it happen?
This is
Yeah, we were just talking about.
Valerie, I think you've not met him.
We have not met, no.
No.
What about you? Good to meet you.
Good meeting too. Namaste,
I stayed here on the bench when I first started.
Okay.
I considered accumulating profit. It's so interesting that we never. Because things never find her way around here. Some random.
Oh, yeah. No, she lived here for her time, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing with coaching?
I'm licensed as a mental health therapist. I just opened my private practice, and so.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Feels good. Even though I'm still new in the practice, I'm still figuring out how to run my own business and all that. It still feels better than like working working for an agency.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're enjoying the freedom, and there's a lot of complexity with starting your own business.
Yeah.
A lot of little parts that need taken care of.
Yeah.
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 Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
A bit steadily progresses and you find lots of success there.
Thank you.
You live here.
Gainesville, close by.
Okay. Nice.
We'll be back in a second.
Yeah. 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 Beautiful. Yeah. What about you?
I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, it brought up a lot of stuff for me actually. It was like a big process.
Yeah.
Lots of processes. Yeah, I didn't expect that, but it made sense to me, given that it's like some conscious God-centered place. It makes sense. I felt like it was purifying, and I felt like someone used the analogy of ghee.
Just came it.
That's what it felt like was happening for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came to the surface.
Yeah, which was nice. It was challenging, but it was nice to like purify and kind of release.
Yeah. It's nice. To be aware of it with the tools to handle it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, really thankful to have the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that challenge, I feel like it brought me closer to God too, because when I was praying a lot about what was happening and for support, and so I felt like the experience was so rich for me.
Yeah, but it's something like that. Just you were surprised by what came up, or
No, it's like old wounds. Yeah. No, it's
okay.
yeah.
It was more intense for you to experience.
Yeah, and I guess it was just surprising. Like it was surprising that it just came up. I didn't because I just didn't expect that something was gonna come up.
Like,
yeah.
You didn't expect something like this to
Yeah.
People like, oh, I'm not all pretty so joyful. Interfere with your festivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
You get to look at it.
Yeah, I got to look at it. Yeah, it was good. Were you there both days?
No, I was there on the second day. Yes. But I wasn't following online, so I was like present. You know? I was following on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So that was convenient because I couldn't like, I used to like be there day to night, from the morning to the night. But my life circumstances are different now, so I couldn't like just go and be there the whole day. This time around.
We could have eat around the table.
Table, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was nice. It was like it had a different atmosphere this time. I felt.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different. Yeah, so.
In what way is it different?
It had its own, flavor, which I liked. It was more like usually there were like big ears, big things.
Yeah.
It's not like rascals,
It's more mellow and like less people.
Also, like the people who sing, you get a different array of participants coming and getting the chance. Because when the good ones come, everybody else has to like, we kind of like lead and experience what it's like to be and just get to be part of this happening, not just as an audience, but also new people, just a new generation and different combinations, so it has a different flavor. Which I actually appreciate it. I appreciate it to hear everybody who doesn't normally do. I think it was the progress, because really Cuban, it's not about the performance.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the style that was refreshing in a way.
I wasn't just kind of like this I was like being a good musician. It was like actually Bhakti.
Yeah. And then, it wasn't like all the way, it's not like but really appreciate without all the things.
Yeah.
All the instruments and people who are doing it for decades. They're still good, but during the week, just a few days before, we did it in the temple room. So like from Stanton,
I heard that. Yeah, I didn't go.
So this is when those people actually get to,
the famous people or the
famous.
Oh, okay.
Like when I say famous, I mean like
just well known.
Devotees who are for skill are appreciated, and everybody loves to be in the kirtan. It's enlightening and inspiring, but it wasn't less than but it's just. I just kind of realized that's how it worked this year. So it's not that they were completely out of the picture, but they had their evenings to participate, to be part of it. So, and everything is recorded. You can get it and you can get things.
Oh, it's all recorded. Nice.
Yeah, it's all recorded. If you go to the page of that Festival of the Holy Name page, you'll see all these things as well. So you kind of get those aspects as well. Yes. In case you miss it.
Yeah. Should we get Prashad?
Yeah.
So you lived in Alachua for a while?
Oh, I moved to the area in 2001. And we came here, we spent there for and then we moved to the East Coast for 2.5 years, and we came back to Lodge. So we're here for the last 4 years.
We haven't had that happen, but that was the first one. Someone, that's interesting. That's very nice.
There's plates.
There's so much right here.
Is anyone else is anyone living there now? You as much as the great.
Yes.
Many of y'all have roommates other than my current.
Yeah, that's currently. Yeah.
How often do you have available meals?
It is, that's what she has, yeah.
How often does that happen?
Pretty much every day.
Mm.
No, you should get lots of people throughout the week too.
Mm.
Nice.
It's a regular thing.
It's a regular thing.
Full time job. Used to have really thing like it's all we done. There's just when we used to phone was there.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was we were pretty much married to can't really go all the time.
No, she has it. Plays with her all the time. Yes, she does.
We gotta be over to so many people and
Be a super host.
be president, like
Yeah.
you're all the time.
Yeah. We have a lot of house rules, so she gets lots of questions.
From like regular times, work weeks or whatever, therapy, we still take so.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Really beautiful house.
Yeah, I mean, our house is very.
You've been there, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been very fortunate to have so many people come, and then they don't even know why they're coming, but they come. They find out, yeah. But even like, just like construction workers, like, right, big burly guys are, big heavy shoes and smoke and drink and everything else, and that they don't do that inside our little house, of course. But it's so funny, it's like this, someone who they came in, I remember Dominique, that he's a heavy smoker, but he doesn't, the room is like really spotless, and I think it was, smell, but that's my biggest concern, the person who's gonna like leave, that's in the house, and that, they're very respectful. Yeah. So you just never know this many times. Yeah. So amazing. Reaching so many people. And then they're like, no, for the Pashadam, because they don't know, and then they taste it, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want some of that. Yeah. And then they start going up, and they have it. Yeah.
And so she didn't go into the thing.
Oh yeah, so you have to let her know. Let her know that that's what you want, and you have your prepare.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you tell her ahead of time, she's happy to prepare. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, there's a quote: "All journeys have secret destinations which the traveler is unaware." I think it's one of the So there was a construction workers who come to call, but they don't even know why that.
Exactly.
There's a destination.
Getting special mercy. This particular person is even like traveling to Palatka to get to the construction site. It was like 30 minutes.
Wow.
In the house.
So like it's definitely low, right?
Together. I think it's affordable. Yeah. But it's, I think once you're there, the environment is so attractive.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why the initial which way is.
Well, I'm sure it's better than a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even not knowing.
Yeah.
I was staying there recently when this woman came to take a cooking class. And she's been traveling for the last year and a half, and she was like, yeah, I don't think I can come back to the country, but here I am, I'm running stuff in Florida, and then she was leaving, and she said she was going to come back to Florida, bring her sister down here, and then she was also planning to leave the country again, but she's didn't go back to northern Florida, and she was like so open to Bhakti. She offered to do with that, so she really like the person, and she was really open, and at the same time, she said that she grew up religious and had seen like a lot of harm. And so she was like really resisting the burning, but she was like seeking something, It was just really beautiful to like witness her in the state of Bhakti, and then she was like, I think I'm starting to understand why I keep getting called back to this area.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was so beautiful to see. And then she booked 5 days. 5 days at a Prabhupada house with her sister.
Yeah. And that happens like for New Year's, like we had people that had never been before, and they were there for 8 hours chanting this. Yeah, that was great. And yeah, so we're doing it, yeah, because we had like a good response. Yeah. So for that, then she posts, you know, that we're doing that, and that's what we want. That's what we want to do for people who we can put out and engage with stuff.
You'll advertise that. The people who know what it is will want to come, and those who don't will come anyway.
Exactly. Because there's some people, you know, that are and actually last year, some joined via Zoom because they asked. And we're like, okay. I mean, I'll always be in the room because they may be on their number walk, but the room will be having, you know, probably chanting.
Wow.
We'll just, you know, connecting them out during the day. That was, yeah.
The all day chanting thing, is that just something people decide, or like specific times?
We're shooting 8 hours. We're gonna be up at 4 a.m. Start at 4 a.m. Take a vow of silence and just chant. And then after 8 hours, be in, I'll take a shower. And then have a nice conversation about, you know, what's happening for everything. Yeah. Yes.
I guess that people. So, I mean,
2019, because 8 hours, it's good here. Every 2 or 3 years we did once, you know, Carl house and taking over. I used to have a we got lost for shock.
I remember arriving in town one time and there was something going on here. And I was staying here. I was like, we're doing what? The TV was here and she was like giving me some meetings. I was like, are we to be it? Yeah. Yeah, it's early and
But when Nina asked, it's really hard to say no. Yeah, she got it.
so I didn't find it and then
Yeah.
Right? Good.
When you were starting your private practice, were you working under someone to
We're looking for Meridian, like where 13th Street, so yeah, I did my own to continue.
you guys? And then you just transitioned.
is that common for people that immediately go into independent practice?
A lot of therapists, both, some of them, you know, they do just stay in an agency for quite a long time. Some people prefer that stability, just, you know, kind of have like a lot of paycheck and all the benefits and stuff, so.
You're not doing their own marketing or anything like that.
No.
Their own business work.
Right.
Okay.
So. Someone says that important, so I believe.
Okay.
What kind of business do you like in LLC?
LLC.
Okay.
Peace. Well,
we didn't turn it down, but.
So we go back tomorrow and.
Yeah.